There are some very, very beautiful trans women out there.
Yeah, you won't catch me being offended.
Yeah, and at this point in society, like, if someone says you're as hot as a trans chick, you should kind of take it as a compliment. Because,
I put it in my back pocket. I say thank you.
Yeah, like they worked really hard to be that beautiful.
Yeah,
Like really, really hard. And I'm not saying it's attractive to me, but to some people, man, it is the cat's meow.
I think they also think it because I'm just so funny.
Yeah, you gotta be. You gotta be a dude.
That's gotta be. Yeah, has to
I tell you what, that's the first real sexist comment on the podcast in 17 episodes, and it came from Quinn Collins.
be. Oh, the girl in denim stilettos.
Family brings joy, it's childhood destroyed. It's Tammy's boy. Tammy's boy. Tammy's boy. It's Tammy's boy.
Tammy's Boy Podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. Jon Carden is not a licensed therapist. He is just a friend.
Welcome on in, Tammy's boys and girls. Thank you for joining us for another fun-filled episode of Tammy's Boy. You know me, I'm John. I've had to testify for my mother on several occasions, and maybe I lied on the stand. We don't know. But this is a show where we talk about parents, and it usually leads to something fun. So, few words from my producer, Mr. Cole Garrett.
What is going on, everybody? Full episode is going to be available on YouTube and Spotify. Please make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching it. It's also going to be on most of your podcast listening platforms if you don't like watching it, even though I think you should, because I think it looks pretty good. But that's enough out of me. John, tell the people who we got on the couch today.
Well, Tammy's boys and girls, we have a good friend of mine. She works at the Sunset Strip. She tours all over the South. She is very fun, very enigmatic, and kind of cool. It's Quinn Collins.
Oh my God, I'm about to Google what enigmatic means. Sounds like I can't walk through like security things or I'll go off. But
Magnetic.
yeah, yeah.
This
Doesn't that
turns
sound
in-
like that?
Yeah, do you remember that clip with Suki or whatever her name is, where like you're a musician, and she's like, "No, I'm not a musician. I do music."
Yes, yeah.
And she goes, "No, but you think I don't think. That's ghetto. I know."
I love that. Confidence is key, really.
Oh, absolutely.
And also the English language, there's so many words that sound like one word in that word. Do you know?
With dialects, I think if you speak coherently, and I don't want to use a big word. I was going to say extemporaneously, which just means
Yeah, you got an ACT word of the day book, and you're like, I'm about to just
no. What it is,
Start a
what
podcast.
it is I have a crazy memory.
yeah.
Yeah, I have like an insane memory. Like, I wouldn't say it's photographic, but it's like pert near. It's pretty close.
Do you read a lot?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
Okay, I know plenty of people that have a lot of books and on their stuff. That doesn't mean actually read them.
that's true. Yeah. I mean, I've read a lot of those, but there's a lot of books in here that I haven't read too.
It's 17 copies of Green Eggs and Ham, by the way.
No, it's just Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance over and over again.
yeah, in different covers.
Yeah, in different languages.
Oh my God.
I've always wanted to read about a white trash mother in Singaporean.
Yeah.
I've been on Singapore today. I don't know why. But we always start this off real simply, Quinn, and it's just one simple question. Who raised you?
My mom and my dad, a lot. A big into my business kind of way.
And on this podcast, that's such a flex.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't need to brag, but my dad drove me here. Actually,
I know. I literally dapped your dad up
No way.
5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Well, I got rid of my car. I sold my car because it was a piece of shit. But then my parents kind of convinced me to sell it. They're like, especially because they live here. But I had work earlier and there was like surge prices for some reason. So I called my dad and I said, "You done sold my car, so you can go and get here. I have places to be. I'm not paying $47 to go 4 miles." And he did. And then people wonder, it's like why I'm so bossy.
Yeah. You are more than that. You're privileged.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with you. And it's like, you wear it well, though. You never wear it like a brat. You know what I mean? I think it's easy when you've got people that take care of you, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they do things for you, that it's easy to come across like bratty.
Mm-hmm.
But you never do that. You do just come across like, I am the boss and this is the way this is going to go.
Yeah. Well, I would say that I'm privileged in the fact that I was raised by parents that were not privileged, maybe compassionately, or when it comes to like the general caretaking of like maternal and paternal, like they both had very strange upbringings.
Yeah.
That generationally cursed, if you will, and they said like not with us.
What kind of stuff did your dad and mom go through growing up?
So my mom's mom died when she was 6. Like my mom was 6 years old. My grandma was 26.
She died young.
Young. She had a brain aneurysm.
She just passed away.
Yeah, crazy. Just passed like, and like it'd been one of those things where it was like she would say that she was having headaches, but it was women at the time. It was 1963 or something. No, my mom was born in 64, so it's like bleep that out. But like in the 60s, and so like women like going through things like that, they'd be like, oh well, send her to the sea, or like there was always something. Like they never believed women. So, and her stepmom was just not the most tasteful to a stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Very uncouth.
Which is common, It's
Yeah.
like being a step parent. It's a hard job, but it's also not hard to be kind to someone that
To
needs
a
kindness.
child
Yeah.
that just lost their mom.
I don't think that's a difficult thing.
So my mom like really went through it with that, where she was like never got to experience a mom that like adored her, or her only maternal figure was very resentful towards her. Which I wouldn't say her only maternal figure, because there was like my Aunt Nellie Ruth and then my great grandma and like the women in her life on that side.
So they raised her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
she was
like,
raised by a community.
yeah, for sure. And my mom is very quirky. My mom is the most eccentric person in my life.
Your
And
mom is a beast.
she's batshit crazy.
She's a beast, though.
She is.
I've seen the gym reels. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
it's nuts.
your
She's a
mom's-
crazy person.
yeah.
She's like, look how many push-ups I can do. And I was like, why?
For why? We got brunch in 10 minutes.
We have to be somewhere.
We're
Like,
gonna drink mimosas.
get off the patio at Creek and Cave. Like, it's, but she's a unit. But she was just raised in this very you don't pick that. You couldn't pick that if you tried, obviously. But kind of rose above it though, as far as how she's a mom. But very resentful women and jealous women have no limit to their insecurities that they would put it on a child.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand. Yeah.
That it's, and I look at my mom and I'm like, thank God I'm wearing her jeans, because
Yeah.
I look so much like her, and thank God. But it's one of those things. It's like my mom doesn't take pictures. Like she takes selfies, but when it comes to group photos, she won't do it.
Yeah.
It's like there's like pictures of her on her wedding day, but it's like she's like a vampire. There's like no photos of her. Because like the insecurities that were instilled by her by a grown adult did to a child.
And she's still dealing with that now. That
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. And it's like, but she's never put that on us. Like she's always very like
Do you
complimentary.
tell your mom that she's beautiful?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, thank God. Thank God for these jeans, because it gets me out of a lot of trouble. And
I know it does.
just my dad's like same tone of voice and my mom's face. That's like not in Austin. It works.
In Austin. It'd crush in Birmingham.
Hey, I do numbers in Austin. I do. Men are like, oh, it's crazy. I don't know. This is bad to say, but I went to
Nothing's bad to say.
I went to a gay bar recently.
Okay.
And like, granted, I'd been chain smoking, as I do. And I was talking to this guy. He was in the girls' bathroom, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm in here." I'm like, "I'm not afraid of a twink. You're fine." And then we're just like talking back and forth. And then he hands me 2 condoms, and he was like, "Yeah, we protect the dolls here." And I was like, "Thank you."
Wait.
He thought I was,
No.
yeah,
He thought you were trans.
yeah. I mean, I got a stellar jawline and a crisp rasp, but I know so many guys that are into it. I don't know. I'm not offended, and I know too many girls that are. That I'm like, perfect.
Also, I'll say this. There are some very, very beautiful trans women out there.
Yeah, you won't catch me being offended.
Yeah, and at this point in society, like, if someone says you're as hot as a trans chick, you should kind of take the compliment.
Oh, I put it in my back pocket. I say thank you.
Yeah, like, They worked really hard to be that beautiful.
Yeah.
Like really, really hard. And I'm not saying it's attractive to me, but to some people, man, it is the fucking cat's meow.
I think they also think because I'm just so funny.
Yeah, you gotta be. You gotta be a dude.
That's gotta be. Yeah, has to
I tell you what, that's the first real sexist comment on the podcast in 17 episodes, and it came from Quinn Collins.
be. Oh, the
ladies and
girl
gentlemen.
in denim stilettos. No way.
Oh man.
But no, and then my dad's European as shit. My grandpa's from Ireland and my grandma's from Ukraine.
Wait. 2 countries that everybody in Europe pretty much hates?
What?
Yeah.
Ireland?
Yeah, I don't know if you know about it. The Irish, they're not like, nobody loves them. They're like the Mexicans of Europe.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. That's actually very fair. That's a good point. I think that's why Mexicans
Like
and-
you're glad they're there, but like, you know how they got there.
same as Cinco de Mayo, you're gonna celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely, yeah.
But like
They're both Catholic. They have lots of kids. It's really similar.
no, I think it's cool. I just want to be them. But I like what they do, and I like the drinks they make.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I wouldn't want to be them.
Guinness and margaritas goes hard. You know what I mean?
I know.
Jameson is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you know who the only people that love Jameson more than Irish people are Mexicans.
Yeah, and the only people that love tequila more than Mexicans is fucking Irishmen.
That's probably why I date so many Latina guys.
Yeah, it might be.
It's like all Latinas and redheads.
I mean, Latinas, here's the thing. Latinos and rednecks are very, very similar.
Yo, 1000%.
Very similar. Big on family.
Yep.
They all drive like modded vehicles in some way, shape, or form. Like some truck that's had something done to it.
Yeah.
They've all got a bunch of fucking kids. Most of them don't pay for them.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty fucking
Well, it's
religious.
free to make them.
It's free to make them.
So that's
free
where
to
they
make
get you.
'em. I know. I've got
It's the
enough.
subscription fee for them.
God, that's what I'm going to call my child support from now on.
It's my subscription.
My subscription. It's my kid's subscription.
Pretty much what it is. But yeah, but my dad's Irish, Ukrainian, and then grew up 2 like immigrant like households.
Where did he grow up?
New York or New
Okay.
Jersey.
Okay.
But my great grandma was in my life most of my life.
Okay.
Fled Ukraine, dead of night. She was like 8
So
months
you had
pregnant.
like a Ukrainian grandmother.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
She fled. Well, she fled. My grandma was technically born in Austria, but my great grandma was like, and I had her most of my life 'cause she was young as shit when she had her. Very Appalachian of her, but it was one of those things. And she was just a badass. She was just like so. I was raised by like such a absurd like bag of people. Like you sitting in a room, which I didn't think at the time was that different, but sitting next to someone who was like probably like the biggest white trash redneck person I've ever met, Southern good old boy that's wearing like pressed Wranglers, like
The vest.
owns a farm, like my Ukrainian side of the family that all dress like mobsters and they all
Tracksuits.
tracksuits head to toe.
Yep.
It just
It's a look.
just the most bizarre. Like I think that's why I can be friends with just anybody.
Yeah, you are very well rounded, and that's one of the things I've always enjoyed about you. Is like you're the kind of person you can take absolutely anywhere, and there's
Yeah.
nowhere that you can't be and exist, and like you're very genuine to yourself too. I think that does go into your parenting, and it does go into like how you were raised. And your parents did a great job with you.
I think they're trying. They're working on it.
No, I don't think they've done.
We have a
great
couple
job.
worksheets we're still doing, but
No, I think they've done a great job. And what's your earliest memory with your parents?
that's a great question. I will say like one of my earliest memories is okay. So my dad traveled a lot for work.
Okay.
And this is horrible. My mom loves to bring this up. I've always been, if any other world, I probably would have gotten tested for autism. And I don't know if you're friends with my mom on Facebook, but if like it was as big of it, Facebook was around when I was a little, I can guarantee you I would have been tested 6 times by now.
Yeah.
Because like she would have loved to post about it. Hey, if you guys could just keep Quinny in your thoughts and prayers, people that know they know, and Lord knows, you could keep her in her prayers. She'd be pissed if I didn't have it. But so I was just brutally honest all the time.
Yeah.
As kids are. But one of my first big memories, my dad traveled. He had territories, and at the time we lived in Alabama.
Okay.
And I was little. I think I was three or four. And my dad had some territories in Houston, San Antonio, and I think Dallas. And it was like the electrician or somebody came by our house to drop something off. It was just me and my mom. My sister was in like kind of a preschool daycare thing at the time. She's 2 years older than me. And I remember he came over. He dropped the quote off and he left. And I take the note, like the quote note. Oh, my mom, and I didn't read yet. And my mom was like, "Well, what does it say, baby? What does it say?" And I was like, "Yeah, Daddy left you a note." And she's like, "What does it say?" And I was like, "Dear Mommy, I'm leaving you for a younger woman, and we live in a big blue house in Texas." And she goes, "Oh, well, Quinn, that makes me sad." And I go, "Yeah, because you ain't got a husband." I was 3 or 4.
Jesus. Just divorced your parents with your own fucking, your own
And
wishes?
then just skip off.
Just destroyed her world and went and picked daisies?
I just go high five my imaginary friend that I had until I was 5.
Hey, bing bong, I did it.
My imaginary best friend growing up, his name was Joshua.
Okay.
And it was like,
Imaginary or real?
okay, what's crazy is he was imaginary. My imaginary best friend growing, like when I was little, his name was Joshua. My best friend since I was 11, I'm going to Colorado to go to a wedding with him for people we went to middle school with as well. Joshua is his name. Isn't that crazy?
So you replaced your imaginary Joshua with a real Joshua.
I manifested him.
You manifested a Joshua.
I did.
That's pretty cool.
But I would put him through it. I would tell my mom, I was like, "Yeah, Joshua got ran over again," or like just like horrible stuff. And I forget what story I was telling, but my step grandma, who's from Brazil, she was like, has a little, not a huge language barrier, but it was like one of those where she was like looking at my mom and just like, and my mom was like,
Oh no, Joshua.
no. And my mom was like, "It's her imaginary friend." And she's like, "What is she watching?" That doesn't make it better.
Like you guys allow her to have that?
But I will say that's one of my biggest memories of like having my dad be out of town and me being like, "I bet he's gonna leave you." And I'm 3, and my mom's like, "Oh my God." My mom, the most beautiful redhead little angel.
Here's what I love about you, Quinn. It's that your earliest memory is you being cantankerous.
Yeah.
You know, your earliest memory is you just being a menace.
An absolute demon.
Yes.
My parents say I'm karma for whatever the fuck they had going on. But I remember my, this is horrible. But one of my very first memories, I was 4, was 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Because like I said, my dad traveled and my grandpa actually worked in the World Trade Center. But I remember I was like 4 and I thought it was like a movie. And it was like one of those things. My dad was actually in Chicago on his way to New York.
Okay.
And it was just, I remember that's like one of my first memories, like with my parents, like trying to get a hold of my dad. My mom like freaking out.
Wow. Yeah, I was 14. You know, what's crazy is your mom was born in 64. My mom was born in 63. Tammy was born in 63.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I'm 10 years older than you.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was she a teen mom?
No, pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say that word a lot, and I just realized that it's a very Southern word, pert near.
Yeah.
It means pretty near.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I use a lot, and like, people used to ask me, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
And I didn't know that nobody knew that word. Like, you know what I mean? I had no idea.
That's very Appalachian.
Very, very Appalachian. Yeah, I got
Very.
that one. I think probably from my dad.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about...
You were 14 during
Yes.
9/11.
Oh,
Yeah.
14 during
Talking
9/11.
about 9/11, John. Come on.
So, hey, man, sometimes you forget. See what I did there? You're supposed to never forget.
I barely remember.
Anyway, yeah, I remember it very differently because I was 14 when it happened, and I was living in North Carolina at the time, and I went to I think it was my second step grandmother's beauty shop, which was in the basement of their house. We lived in a trailer down the
Your
road.
second stepmom?
Second step grandmother.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
I had a bunch.
Oh, for a second I thought you just meant like your regular grandma. I'm like, what were you doing with them?
No, it was a step. And I went down to the beauty shop, and I was sitting in front of, they had a box TV. And I remember watching it over and over and over again. And they were like, you know, here are the possible targets, you know, the Pentagon, the pipeline in Greensboro, like all these different possible targets. and they're like, we want to get the largest collection. They want to get the largest collection of patriotic Americans, is what it said. And I was like, well, if you want to do that, the South is where you should start.
Yeah.
If you want to destroy the fighting force of the United States of America, I don't know if you want to start in New York.
You go to the Walmart in the Tri-Cities area in Tennessee.
Go to a Walmart in Beaufort, Alabama, okay?
Yeah.
Just turn over a fat lady in one of those carts and just watch the war that starts.
Yeah. Drop one down on almost any Sonic in the Southeast.
That's a whole battalion.
You'll get about half of them. It's a whole platoon.
Oh, man. You take out the Walmart in a small town, dude, they will be on the first thing smoking to wherever you're from.
Yeah.
They will come for vengeance.
Was Sonic a thing for you? I remember growing up.
Yeah, I remember the first Sonic in Danville, Virginia, like when they put it in, and I think I was maybe 8, 9 years old. For us, Bojangles was like a big one, like a big fast food place.
Yeah.
To Carolina, and then we had like Hardee's.
Hardee's, R.I.P.
Yeah, Hardee's was the one place where you could get like a bucket of chicken, a burger, a chicken sandwich, a fucking Twinkie ice cream milkshake. There's no limit to what you could get at Hardee's.
6 Papaws, always in there.
Yep.
Second it open.
The second it opened. Eating biscuits sometimes at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Why
Don't
not?
yeah.
Their teeth aren't good.
No, they got to gum them.
Yeah,
gotta
which
gum 'em.
like biscuits are pretty. Are you picky about biscuits?
So I'm gluten free.
Oh my god.
I know you hate that about me. I know it. All of my Southern friends, that's what they hate most about me. Is that
You know,
I'm gluten-free.
they say if like older women, especially like church women, like because like in the South, like you do like a potluck, and it's like they'll always roll their eyes and go, you know, she's off the gluten.
Yeah, it's like an insult not to eat people's food in the South. And I always felt bad, but like I've been that way for 8, 9 years now. And I don't know. I don't feel guilty about it anymore because I feel better being that way than when I ate, recklessly.
Yeah.
But when it came to biscuits, yeah, I'm particular about biscuits.
Yeah.
It's got to be soft in the middle. You can never give me a biscuit that's like the same amount of viscosity. Is that the word? Dexterity? It can't be the same bite. It's got to be crisp, a little bit hard to bite on the outsides, but then soft on the insides. But it still needs to be flaky and like buttery.
I'm wearing a denim top that matches my denim boots. We're not using a thesaurus on this podcast. That's crazy.
That's not the right word. But anyway, yeah, thickness. Viscosity, it relates to thickness. Okay?
I think a good biscuit's dense and moist.
Dense and moist.
Like me.
Put it simple. That's fine. Dense and just like you. Oh.
Wait, did you get out of school early during 9/11?
Yeah, we left school early. And that was my dad died like 50 days after 9/11. Yeah, he
At least
died.
got to see it.
Yeah, right? At least he got to see
it
it.
wasn't left out.
My dad was a Vietnam vet. And
Oh, shit.
6'9", 300 pounds, ginger.
6'9"
He was
and
enormous.
ginger?
Yeah, he was enormous.
Would have folded.
I'll show you a picture of my dad.
Would. Immediately would.
Hold on, I got to do it now.
It's all redheads and Latin men for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what is going on. Probably because I'm in Texas.
So-
I don't know the redhead thing.
I'm part ginger.
Me
I'm
too.
not saying that for any particular reason. But that's my
You say
dad.
pity?
Particular reason. Yeah, he was enormous.
He would have crushed at Latchkey.
Oh, he would have crushed it, lads.
He would have done numbers at East
Yeah.
Austin Garden.
Oh man, R.I.P. Dad. But yeah, my dad was absolutely enormous. He was a character of his own.
6'9" is crazy.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, you're not a
crazy.
short dude, but like,
No, I'm 6'1", but the thing is my dad wanted me to level off around 6'6". And I'm like, that's not the only way I came up short to my father. I remember as a kid, like seeing my dad walk out of the shower naked all the time. I remember seeing it.
oh wow,
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if I could draw it, but I could probably come close.
yeah.
Yeah, as far as an accurate representation of what it was. And it was
Like size?
It was proportionate to a 6'9" frame.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Like if you would have put that dick on a man that's 5'8", he would have looked like it would have been absolutely like you put a slinky on a Ken doll.
really,
Yeah.
But he probably didn't have good blood flow to it. That's too much weenie for the blood flow.
Yeah, but he had a big heart because he's 6'9".
Yeah, but still, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think
I
God
feel like they
creates what
can't
the
get
heart
all
can't
the way
grow.
hard.
Huh?
God didn't give both hands. We know that. So I don't. There's no way it would get all the way hard.
No, I mean, so my mom, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'll tell the story because Tammy's Tammy. Tammy told me when I was like 13, 14, she goes, it took them 3 tries to get it in
Jesus.
the first time. Yeah. And I was like, but hey, you didn't give up. Yeah.
Well, I guess they kind of did.
But if at first
Is
you
your
don't
mom
succeed,
still like earthly present?
she's still on the planet. Yeah.
Okay.
She's still here. But as far as like what realm she's in,
Okay.
that's a different story. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It depends on how many Xanax she's had that day. And she's been doing this thing lately where she will they take all of her Xanax at once, and then she'll go to a mental hospital and sign herself in for the 14-day hold, and they're legally obligated to give her medicine. And so if she's at a 2-week supply and she takes them all, and then she'll just go lock herself up for 2 weeks so she gets medicine.
It's a hustle.
Yeah, she's always been like that. My mom had like 3 doctors.
She's not innovative.
Oh, that was the thing about Tammy. Was Tammy knew how to play the fucking system. There was a playbook whenever she left a husband. And I think I've talked about it on the pod before. But me and my brother called it Christmas. Because what she would do, and it didn't matter if it was July, March, or April. It was Christmas to us, man. What she would do is she would go to the magistrate's office. And she would file a restraining order against the dude that she was with. Whoever it was. And at that point, the cops would follow us back to his house. Because that's where we lived usually. And the cops would escort him out of their house because he had somewhere else he could go most of the time. Whereas Tammy would be like, I've got nowhere else I can go. This is my only place. So they would escort him out, and then me and my brother would have Christmas, where we would steal all of our stepdad's shit.
Okay, love.
One of my favorite times. Taking a black trash bag and stealing stuff from a man that's abused you
Yeah.
is one of the greatest feelings of liberation that you could ever possibly have.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing you ever stole?
A set of Harley Davidson knives that was gifted to him for like a 20th anniversary on something. And I used to eyeball those knives every time I walked by them. I'd be like, one day, dude, I'm going to take those knives.
What's the most did you ever steal anything where you're like, this is practical? Don't say the Harley Davidson knife.
It depends on what circle you're in. Okay? The Harley Davidson knife can be pretty practical. I got to think. I would steal little shit all the time. We certain stepdads would limit our food where we could only eat so much a day, and so I'd have to sneak away and steal food.
That's such a Southern fucking thing.
Yeah, it is. It's also a poor thing.
Yeah.
But
ration.
yeah, ration. But also, my stepdad wasn't poor. He just raised us poorly.
Oh.
You know,
How long was he your stepdad?
From the time I was 9 to the time I was 16.
Oh my God.
Randy, yeah. So
Randy. Wow.
yeah, and then I ended up. I talked about it on the podcast with Rachel, but I ended up getting locked up in a wilderness facility for 13 months, and that was right after 9/11. So that next May, after my dad died, that October, I ended up in a wilderness camp where I lived for 13 months, 1 week, and 4 days.
How'd your dad die?
So it's a mystery.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. The coroner or the people at the hospital listed it as a heart attack. But when we got there, his heart was beating fine. It was his brain that was dead. So it looked like asphyxiation. It looked like suffocation. And at the time, my dad had, several friends that he would sell pills to. And, it's how he made his nut and how he was able to pay his bills and shit was he would get a big bottle of Percocet from the VA, and then he would flip that bottle, half of it, for bill money.
Yeah.
That was pretty normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zapalacha.
And it's how I grew up. Was seeing that all the time. And just random people coming by, always picking that stuff up from dad. And so my dad was always on a lot of pills, and there was a girl that came over that took care of him named Nancy. And Nancy was a drug addict big time. And when my dad died, apparently the ambulance was called at 1:30 in the morning. But my dad had snakes. And he had a rattlesnake and a black snake. And he called himself an amateur herpetologist, right? Which is just a dude that gets crazy at a Petco.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude that gets a tax return.
I had
and be
free will, a credit card, and a Petco near my house.
That's an amateur herpetologist. So it's basically he watched too much Crocodile Hunter. But he loved it, and he loved snakes. And he was bitten 5 times by poisonous snakes. Yeah, isn't that crazy? 5 times. The only thing that saved him each time was his size, because it took so long for the venom to flow through. So my dad had like a snake bit finger,
Yeah.
like that was completely like mutated from where he got bit by a copperhead.
Copperhead?
Yeah, copperhead. You know those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was this drug head named Nancy, and she was supposedly taking care of him, but the ambulance showed up at 1:30 in the morning, and she didn't allow him in until roughly 4:45. She said there was snakes all over the house, that she had to pick them up and put them away, and like, there's no way she picked up JoJo. JoJo was a timber rattlesnake that had a temper of a fucking scorned wife. Okay, that man, that snake was real.
That's like a Lemony Snicket like series of unfortunate events, like the snake house.
Yeah, yeah. So she
And they
told,
blame it on the snake.
yeah, yeah. So she told them that, and then she cleaned out my dad's house. Pulled a car around back, cleaned out all his guns. He had a lot of guns, and cleaned out all of his pills. He had a lot of pills, and then I got to the hospital around 9 a.m. With my mom and my stepdad, and I remember walking in, seeing my dad's body. It was crazy because to me, my dad was Superman, right?
Yeah.
He was at the end of every "my dad can beat up your dad" argument.
Yeah.
The second somebody saw my dad, they're like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, your dad kicked my dad's ass. So seeing that man in that lifeless position, his body bouncing from the life support and all that stuff, it was super traumatic, and it was it was shaking. And then after that, I had to go over to the house and meet Nancy because the police found her. And so we went over to the house. Basically, had to break into my dad's house, and we met up with Nancy, and she gave me back like a lot of his butterfly knives, a lot of his pills, and so I wanted to do an
Oh,
autopsy.
the police found her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I gave him back all the stuff. And so I wanted to do an autopsy. But my aunt was flying in, and she had power of attorney, and she had all the control. I had no control. I was 14. And so they would have confiscated all the medication. And it's hard for me to talk about this because my aunt's still alive, and she's still a good lady. And she's always been, pretty good to me. But this did happen, and I'll talk about it. But she took the pills for herself, from what I understand, and didn't want to do the autopsy, so the pills didn't get confiscated. It just accepted the COD, the cause of death. And I never wanted to accept the COD. I wanted to, explore and see what actually happened, because in my mind, my dad might have been murdered.
Yeah, that's like 1,000%. Sounds like.
Because it sounds like my dad might have been incapacitated on pills, and she might have wrapped a plastic bag around his head, and that's how he passed.
Did he donate his body to science or anything?
He's cremated, and he's in my closet.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll take that pilgrimage one day with me and my dad, and I'll dump him somewhere.
Yeah.
But as far as that, I just talk to him every time I get ready.
How old was he?
He was 47. Yeah.
Younger.
Yeah, he's 47. But 6'9", 300 is not easy on the body, especially when you do drugs as long as he did.
Oh, yeah, that. But I was like, even 47, even if you're like that size and stature, that's still pretty young.
But he's got an older brother that looks almost identical to him.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Sometimes it's kind of creepy when you, not creepy, that's not a nice word, but when you see really tall old men.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have trouble walking at a certain point. And
Yeah, they're like Great
joints
Danes.
They're like Great Danes.
They got like hip dysplasia, but I guess I do too. I'm like,
Did you ever have any big people in your family, or is everybody
big people? Yeah, dude. Holy fuck. My dad's side of the family. Here's the thing is like my dad's side of the family. So my dad is like 5'11", but like you've seen my dad's hair.
Yeah.
My dad has some absolute lettuce, but his
Your dad
brothers
has
are
a good head of hair.
his brothers are all bald and 6'3".
Okay.
So it's like flip a coin.
Yeah.
But then my cousins, I have a cousin who's a Marine. He's like 6'1", 6'2", ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a cousin, I have two cousins, my dad's oldest brother. One of my cousins, she lives in Chicago now. She's like 5'10", and then all my cousins on that side are pushing 6'5".
Okay.
I don't know if that's the Eastern European that's tall or what, but and then my mom's side of the family, there's the Houses, and they were all the ones that fight you. That's like where a lot of my mom's like grit comes from.
Okay.
The fuck around and find out
Yeah.
was from the House side, and they were all giants. And then there's like the Bells and Brocks, and they're all short. So my Aunt Nellie Ruth is like 4'11", probably 4'11" now because she's older. And then my mom is 5'1", maybe. And my sister's 5 foot. And then all the women on my mom's side of the family are tiny. And so I go back home and I like will go to like Thanksgiving and I'm like so tall
Compared to everybody, yeah.
compared to everybody. And then like my best girlfriends are like Justine, like even Kylie. Kylie's like 5'7".
Yeah.
Justine's 5'9". All of my girlfriends are tall. So in my head, I shit you not if like I had never like access to like a mirror, I guess, or like it was just me around all my friends. If I had to sign all the paperwork for my ID, I put 5'9".
You do what dudes do on Tinder?
1000%. In my head, I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
I'm 5'4", but but I'm 5'9" in my head, and
Listen, that's not the only time somebody's lied to you about 5 inches.
Yeah, 1000%. It's I'm usually the most passionate about those. So, unfortunately, but yeah, in my head I'm tall,
Yeah.
like really tall.
In my head, I'm short
Really,
because my dad was so big.
that's fair.
Yeah, so I'm always like, I'm also very comfortable around tall people.
Yeah,
Big time, because my dad's side of the family was enormous. My grandpa was 6'7", my uncle 6'8", my dad was 6'9", my aunt was 6'2". Like they're all trees. They're
that's
big.
crazy.
The crazy thing is my dad was in Vietnam, right? And he was in a group called the Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol that pretty much relies on you being not seen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so I remember my dad, first day, he shows up, Vietnam camp or whatever, and boot camp. And he's like, how am I supposed to hide? And the guy hands him 2 branches and says, hold these and pretend to be a fucking tree.
yeah, no kidding.
He's like, that's your only shot.
Yeah, hey motherfucker, be really still. Get really good at being so still.
Oh, man. So what's one good thing that your mom does right now that you love?
Oh God, just one. Other than my mom loves to do this thing. I love going in public with my mom. It's because it's like she's kind of like hitting this like my mom's hot headed.
Yeah.
Not as much as she was. I think I took it. I'm in the phase where I took it for. My mom is like she works out all the time, redhead, passionate person. But it's crazy. My mom does this thing. We'll go to like HEB or like a gas station or something. And it's like I turn the corner and she's mid-conversation with someone who didn't even say hi back. Like she's just telling them like some story. It's usually about me doing stand-up. She's going on and on and on and on. They've not asked a question. I've not heard their voice. And then we'll leave and I'm like, we got to go be somewhere. We'll get in the car and she goes, sorry. They were a talker. And I was like, you've lost your fucking marbles. Like, what do you mean? It's like my mom's never met a stranger. And it's like, it's getting to the point where it's like, obviously my mom is very self-sufficient. There's nothing, I'm not worried about her at all. She's like she's still very young, obviously. But it is getting to that point where it's like, you start worrying about the things your parents worried about for you. Like when my mom's in this new city, my mom will talk to anybody. Mom will be on 6th Street. We're just like, and of course, like she's like not shy. I get worried when she talks to these strangers because like it's a much different. I don't particularly think Austin's dangerous. But like I got like street smarts, and I'm not saying I'm like very minimum, but like
She's probably just naive.
my mom is from Carrollton, Georgia,
Yeah.
a little bit
Says
out of
everything,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Like and don't get me wrong, my mom is not the kind of person that like my mom's good at energy. She like reads the room. She's very smart in that sense, but she also very much so sees the best in people, and it's just like I don't know. It's I don't know. Sometimes you get worried, and sometimes people just aren't kind back, and that just makes me want to rock their shit.
Because your mom's such a pure sweetheart that if someone doesn't treat her the way that you know that she
I don't know about
deserves to be
pure, but
treated.
she's a sweetheart.
But if someone doesn't, honor your mother the way that you see the way they
Yeah,
should
I'm
honor
the
her.
only one that can talk to her like she's a dumb bitch. So, which she still hits me, but I'm the only one that can have an attitude to my mom.
Dude, I wouldn't want your mom to hit me.
She'd probably charge you.
Charge.
But I've been working out with her a lot too, and
Your dad would hand me the square reader.
tip. There's just a last question at the end. It's a tip.
10% tip.
But,
That's for me.
But yeah, she's. I work out with her a lot too, and she's like bopping around the gym. And if I go without her, everyone's like, "Where's your mom?" And I'm like, I guess I'll fuck myself. I've been going here for. I've been going
You've
here for
only known me
3
for 5 years.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been going to this specific Gold's for that long. And you're like, where's your mom? I don't know. Hi, how are y'all? No,
Yeah.
I'll have a great workout. Thank you.
That's funny.
But yeah, my mom is very steadfast. And I think they're really enjoying like being here.
And they pretty much like, they uprooted their lives for you, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't like exclusively for me.
But you were like,
I
one of
was
the
the catalyst.
Yeah.
I think to a certain degree, it's kind of the same way everyone moves to Austin. Someone you cared about liked it a whole lot, and like you were ready for something new. You visited a few times, and you're like, why not?
Yeah.
And my dad's in tech, so it's kind of a good place to be for that. But I think it was just kind of the thing that brought us all here. Someone you trusted liked it a lot, and you had a safe place to be for it.
Are you staying with them right now?
No. I live with like one of the security guards at Sunset.
Okay.
I did when they first moved here, my lease was up at my old apartment, so I did live with them for 3 months. Like saved up and like it was nice. But I don't I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with living with your parents in your 20s or going back to living at home. And it's cool that I always
I
have
don't
that.
see nothing wrong with it either.
I always have the opportunity. And I don't really date, so it's just like it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But I do like my own space. Like I'm a very like solitude kind of person.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by my place. I am too, because
Yeah.
I'm far out and I don't necessarily like being around all the hustle and bustle of comedy all the time. I want a break.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like I also lived here by myself for 3 years. Like I was
you did.
1,000 miles away from my family. And I did develop this like sense of individualness and like I like my space.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my parents so much, but I'm like I don't know, like I like to like just sit in a room and like do nothing in my own space.
What's one thing that your dad does that you wish he would stop doing?
That he would stop doing.
Like one little thing that he does that annoys you.
Oh my God. He burps all the time. And I hate that. My dad really doesn't do anything.
Like I view your dad as perfect. I don't know if you know that, but like when I talk about your dad,
Damn near is. It's so.
when I talk about your dad, I'm literally like, he's like one of the examples I use when I talk about good fathers.
Oh, 1,000%. Oh, he does this thing where it's like, it's so hard to make a decision. Like where it's like, and both my parents yak my sister for this. My sister can't make a decision to save her life, or like she will and then she won't. Like she'll like go back and forth, or like she's not clear on her decision making, and they absolutely whack her for it. And they're the same way. My dad specifically, I'll be like, oh, well, it's like, it whatever you want to do, and then we'll have like this plan, and they're like, oh, did you want to do that? Trying to go like if me and my mom were like going somewhere to eat, I'm like, we're gonna go to this place.
I do that.
Oh my God.
I do that.
I'm like,
hate
we'll
it.
go to this place. And then I'll be like, cool. I'll be on my way. She goes, oh, well, there's Kelly's Irish or something like that. And I'm like, oh, did you want to go there? And she goes, no, we can like do like whatever. I'm like, did you? I'm pulling in. Like,
Speak with your chest, Mom.
say it. I don't care where we go. I'm on Adderall. It doesn't matter. And I'm not eating. And but that drives. They both do that where it's just like, and then they'll like talk back and forth. And they're like, everyone can't make a decision. And I'm like, I don't know. That's one of those things where it's like, because I'm sure I do it too.
Yeah.
Like when I'm with other people, where it's like, because I'm a very much so a go with the flow kind of person. Whatever y'all want to do, I'm usually happy with because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I'm like, for me, it's like when I make that decision, I'm going to need you not to argue with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to need you to not to be like, no, I don't want that.
Is that really what you want to do?
Yeah.
What did you want to go to?
Exactly.
If that's not really what I wanted to do,
Exactly.
I wouldn't have said it.
If you don't hit me with a solution, fuck your problem.
Yes. I can't talk to people, and my parents are this way too. My mom's this way. Very much so. Between having like a Eastern European dad and like a Southern redhead Baptist mom.
Yeah.
If you are complaining to me about something, I'm going to give you solutions.
Yes.
And you're not going to look at me and be like, well, you don't think I thought about that? No, because you're still bitching about it.
Yeah. And it's like sometimes I'm not telling you, how to fix this because for you, I just want you to quit bitching about it.
Yeah, and it's like I don't get to just hold all this like shit. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna clarify. I don't get to just hold all this shit that you're venting to me about when I have like my own things going on.
Yeah.
If I don't get to tell you something that'll make it easier.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like if I'm venting to somebody about something, not that I want them to fix it for me, but there's so many things I don't, when you're wrapped up in something or you're frustrated, there's so many things that you just like are not thinking of as a solution because you're overwhelmed.
Yes.
But if usually you're like talking to someone who's not going through it, they have something. And even if like it's stupid or it's like, it's still a solution. And like I might try it or I might be like, all right.
Yeah.
But like there's people like, oh, I can't just vent to you. I can't. I've like, that's been so far. I just turned 28. That's been one of the biggest things about my 20s. And I think like having the parents I do, because like growing up, I would like bitch about something. And if I did that, my parents would like, I'd get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do about it? Well, then what's your solution? Like, what's the resolve? Always, what's the resolve?
Well, it's a real thing to be like, hey, I don't have space for this.
Yeah. And it's like that's been a huge thing. Like I said, just turned 28. Like, and especially since living in Austin, I've cut off relationships, friendships with people that it's an energy suck. And it's not major things when it comes to big traumatic things. I will always be there. But when it's like there's certain people, and I've had multiple people like this in my adult life, that it's just like every day they're texting you nonstop, this, and they're pissed. Everything's pissed. And there's no solution. They're always mad. Everything sets them off. And it's like, I can't carry this. Wake up on time.
Yeah.
Like, or like there's like little things, and I'm like, I hate, and people hate it. And like, because my parents, if I fucked up, I overslept, I did this or that sucks. How are you going to fix it so that doesn't happen again next time?
Yeah, see, I do that with my own kids.
What time are you going to wake up tomorrow? Yeah. Or it's like, there's little things where it's like, and don't get me wrong, like there were sometimes there's just a dumbass, and my parents would be like, hello?
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck are you
and
doing?
they go a little bit, harsh. For the most part, they would be in a sense, like I don't know, like a gentle parenting, but always sarcastic. There was like, it was a gentle parenting,
kind of passive aggressive.
a little bit.
Yeah, but Southerners can be.
Yes,
Southerners
it's like a
can
bless your heart gentle
yeah.
parenting. Yeah. Not because there's a gentle parenting where people are like, oh no, buddy, let's talk about how we feel, like and you're just like, you are their parent, not their friend. And my parents were always my parents and not my friend until they were my friends.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I didn't get knocked up, I graduated school, I'm like out here, I'm making progress with what I do, I like have a good job, but like they were my parents until they were my friend. They were never my friends when they were my parents.
I love that.
Because obviously they'll always be my parents, but they're not raising me right now. They're not parenting.
No,
me.
you're at the age where their responsibilities aren't as, they aren't as great with you. Where like they don't have to worry about your care and all those things around the clock like they did when you were younger. So they're able to separate a little bit more.
Yes.
And they're able to, which is cool because you're actually able to enjoy them as people.
Yeah.
And you don't have to always look at them as mom and dad.
Yeah.
And you're actually able to see the person that they are, which is like what I want my kids to be one day. As the daughter, like me and my oldest daughter are getting there, where we talk every day, and we talk for 30 to 45 minutes a day almost. And like, where if not, we text. It's something every day. There's some form of communication.
Yeah.
But I never was trying to be her friend. I'm only trying to be her dad. And when she gets older, I will definitely, and she can take care of herself, I'll definitely let the reins off and let her like see me as a person. I've taken my daughter around comedy, and because I would rather them get the experience than for me to tell them about the experience.
Yeah.
And like when my daughter's 18, I will walk her up and down 6th Street. I will go show her all this shit.
Yeah.
And I will be like, listen, this is where you need to be safe. This is where you need to watch yourself.
This is where someone walks you to your car. This is like.
Yes, if it's after 1:30 a.m. or it's 1 a.m. in Austin, you get somebody to walk to your car.
This is where if you don't get paid till next Friday, you get a few drinks here before you go out with
Absolutely.
other people.
You can drink for free here because they know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make it think it's because they know you, not because she's pretty.
Yeah,
even though that's
absolutely.
why.
Yeah,
It's because
I
she's
know.
pretty. It's because, by the way, it's because they know me.
Yeah.
Remember that.
And I've got a pretty daughter too, and she's
Exactly. So,
I
but
know.
you tell her that it's just because they know you.
Yeah.
But
A
I don't
wave
know.
of sadness too. Man.
It'll be. It has been. Well, my parents are strict as fuck growing up, which I am now very grateful for.
Because you have discipline.
Yeah,
I've noticed it about you.
I
It's
have.
like-
I'm consistent in what I'm passionate about.
Yes.
But I wish I were more disciplined. And
Well, discipline is the toughest form of self-love.
1,000%. And I think in the last year and a half, 2 years, there's been a switch in me when it comes to my discipline. And it's like I journal a lot. And I like when I first moved to Austin, I was like kind of just went buck wild. And as you do. And then I got a really shit boyfriend for a very brief amount of time.
I remember.
Quit comedy. And then even when I came back into it, I partied a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was the girl that she's got her shit together now. So I'm not like, but we were crazy as fuck when we were friends. She's a mama now. She's married with mama.
What?
Yeah, I don't know really. We're still blocked on everything, but it's like you hear things through the grapevine of like people that still follow her and she's doing really well. Really, really well.
Wow.
Yeah. And then like, there was like one time, I don't know, I was like looked up on, because I don't know, I'm sentimental as fuck. Even if like things didn't end well.
I am too. Yeah.
If things didn't end well or like it blew up or whatever it may be, like if I genuinely love somebody, I'll always genuinely love them. And I looked her up on Facebook, like, or her like husband, and there's a picture of her, him, and their baby at the Christmas lights, and I like literally cried. Because like, we were so nuts. We were batshit. We were batshit crazy. But I think that's a huge part of it. And we were fucking 24 at the time. So, to be expected. But she's doing really, really well. It made me so happy to see that. But I moved here. It was like crazy. And then like as soon as around the time I got hired at Sunset, there was a discipline in my comedy. And there was like it's same as like when you're working out and you're seeing results. Once you get addicted to those results. So when I'm like doing well on stage, I'm like, how can I get booked at this? How can I be at this mic? How can I work on this? Like, and I don't want to say like it's like a gimmick, but there's a certain thing, there's a certain brand for me that's working for me. How do I invest in this? Because I'm clearly relating to the people I need to. Mm-hmm. It's developing a following. And I really think because when I moved here and started stand up, I was trying to be edgier than I was. I had the all black hair. I wore the all black. Trying to write edgy jokes when that's just not authentically you. I think I am the most authentically myself I've ever been. And I think that shows in my stand up.
Yeah.
Because most of my stuff, I talk about being a late bloomer, like growing up, not like weird, but like I had a harder time. Like I was a little weird looking. I had strict parents. Not that that's their fault, but I didn't high school was a very different experience for me. I grew up very religious.
Here.
So just very, very different. But having strict parents was, I think a blessing because I love seeing their lives, the girls I grew up with and the girls I was close to, their moms, their wives, and I think it's always beautiful. But a lot of them I've noticed we're hitting that wave of the first divorces, and a lot of them had our babies right when we were 19. And they had a lot more freedom than me within their high school experience. That by 19, they were like, yeah, I've seen it all.
I've done it all, yeah.
Yeah, and I never had that. I didn't do drugs or anything until I was out of high school.
Yeah.
So I didn't care to. Even when I got out of high school, I was just like, I didn't smoke weed until I was like 21.
Wow.
I think I did maybe once or twice, and then I just didn't like it. So I took like one hit of something to where it didn't affect me. But I took my first edible. I have a joke about it. I did my first edible at Hooters, and it was really bad. I worked at Hooters for 3 years, and did my first edible there. I think that was another I remember that being like the peak of my rebellion when I went to college. I like snuck and I was fucking 19 years old or 18, 19, and I applied to Hooters, and I was like, I remember looking at my parents and be like, and what? My mom goes, and that car payment better be paid is all I'm saying. I was like, they didn't give a fuck. They were like, I thought they would be like, Quinn, Hooters. I thought it was going to get like this rebellious reaction. Yeah, and that car payment is due on the 13th, by the way.
Also, bring home some Daytona sauce.
Yeah.
That Daytona sauce rips, dude. It's so good.
I haven't been to Hooters in a minute. It's bankrupt or whatever or something. But
No, they've got one up on North Loop.
I loved working there. I'm not gonna lie.
I almost worked at a Hooters as a cook.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
did it pass the pencil test?
No, I had the second interview and I'd already gotten another job. And
Oh,
so
shit.
I didn't show up. And that's when I was selling weed at Subway. And
Yeah.
I couldn't turn that
Here's
down.
the thing about Hooters, though. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a cook at Hooters and like get a girlfriend," but all them girls are fucking each other.
Yep. A lot of them. So I worked in a male strip club for a little bit. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, well, that's gay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say they were fucking each other?
Oh.
Well,
Quinn.
yeah.
Quinn, you would walk backstage with waters and stuff for the performers because I was a shot boy. And so I had to serve them too. And it would just be a blow fest.
What was your boyfriend's name?
Tyler? No, I didn't. I was one of like 3 straight guys. And there was one guy in there named Matt. And he was just a single dad. And his story was just pretty sad. Like,
Yeah, no shit.
like his ex like just took off and like went to Mexico with another guy and left him the kid. And he was living with his mom. And like his mom's watching the kid at night and he's going out to strip because he's a really, really handsome, good looking guy that was like a theater major. So this is really like one of the only things that he can do. And he would make easy $2 to $3 grand a weekend.
Men and women dominated fields.
Yeah. And I mean, but the amount of gay dudes that were there.
Yeah, it's a male strip club.
Yeah, I tell a joke about it on stage.
What do you think is gonna be there? Straight men?
I mean, I saw some
Straight
things.
women and women that like it's like straight like it's gonna be like women that are like about 46, 6 months out their divorce, going to Zumba lessons and like have major bingoings, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was that. It was always like I would get messed with all the time there by the older ladies. It was always like talk about it on stage, but they would always take the acrylic because I had to wear a Speedo, a bow tie, and running shoes. I know. I looked like I was late to the gayest pool party you've ever seen in your fucking life.
Yeah.
But they would take the acrylic of their fingernail and slide it through my Speedo like a debit card. And then on stage, I say they would stick it in. But what they would really do is put their finger around my butthole and just hover right there and like rub it like
How
it was,
long were you standing?
like it was a clip. I would be bent over. But I'm telling you, these old bitches were fast. These old bitches were fast. Okay, they could get 3 rubs in before I could stand up.
I don't think you were trying that hard to run away.
Quinn, I needed tips.
He's been deployed and he's gonna be like, I couldn't run fast enough. I couldn't run fast enough. A literal veteran. Sorry, they got stamina.
God, I didn't bring you over to get roasted by
I've
fucking Hooters
served
girl.
the country, but I couldn't serve shots fast enough to get away from acrylic fingernails in my butthole.
I've served shots on a
Yeah.
lot of platforms.
I tell you which one you preferred.
I hate you so
How did you
much.
get that job?
All right. I was in the Army, and they'd come down. I guess there was one of the guys, one of the bookers,
Yeah.
had come down to like a nightclub in Killeen, and I guess he was just kind of like looking for employees and people to audition because you have to audition for a male strip club. It's not like you just go get the job.
You auditioned for Hooters too.
Yeah. You had to audition. Like you had to dance, and they had to see if you were main stage material. I was not. I've got no rhythm, and I'm kind of lanky.
Yeah.
But they made me a shot boy because I had abs, and at the time I was pretty jacked.
You were a bottle girl.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a bottle girl.
You
Yeah.
had like one of those signs. It says, please help me.
All right, Quinn, get the fuck off my podcast.
Please, please.
All right, Quinn, we got to wrap this up. We're at an hour. I want to ask you, though. We ask every guest this question. And if you had one piece of parenting advice to give to every parent out there based on how you were raised, what would you tell other parents?
Buckle side first when you hit them. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think, just authenticity is gonna be I remember getting in trouble. There'd be specific things like I would post online because like where I grew up was very much so like right at that peak of social media. And my parents were they had Life 360. Like they knew everything I was doing. And I remember there was like a couple things I did that were like a little bit wrong. And it wasn't like they were like, they weren't like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, blah, blah, blah. It was just, I remember very vividly them like sitting me down on the couch and being like, who are you? What does it mean for you to be you if this is like something you're trying to do right now?
So basically, they taught you like the importance of choices.
And the importance of if this is who you think you are, let us know. If this is what you think is interesting, let's talk about that. And it'd be like one of those things, I don't want to talk about it. I think this, no. I'm like, and if it's who you are, then why are you uncomfortable? Because like they're like, if it's what we're okay with it.
Well, they're teaching you not to feel shame.
Or if you feel ashamed of that, if that's
Change
something
your
you're
behavior.
sneaking to do, if that's not you, tell us why you thought it was a good idea.
Then you need to change your choice.
Yeah. It was just always like, and I think a lot of times when kids are doing those things, I was embarrassed about like, I was like the last one in my friend group to like get their first kiss, lose my virginity. I didn't lose my virginity until college. So it was like, I think there was like certain things. There's like online gives you like this different thing. I was sending bad messages and they made me read them out loud.
Oh, wow.
On the couch, yep. And embarrassing. But it was online, so it didn't feel real. And then part of me felt like I wasn't falling behind or like whatever. Or like I wasn't broken because I was behind compared to my friends.
Socially, you felt like kind of like an outcast.
Sure. I felt like I have the whole thing now about being a late bloomer, and thank God. But once they were like, kind of like, why do you feel like this? If this is this stuff you're doing? Are you doing this stuff? Because why else are you saying this? I'm like, oh, because I don't even have I don't do that stuff. That's like why I'm doing this online. It's because it's not real. And it's like, because apparently that's a kind of a canon event among like girls and guys
Very
that had a
much
harder
so, yeah.
time. But then I just kind of just spilled it all. I'm like, well, Mickey, all these people, like these names are like all doing this. I'm not, like, I don't want to, like everything scares me. And they're like, there you go. But it never was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is disgusting. Like, it was like, who is this? Is this you? And it wasn't. So it's like, I will always, even when it comes to like my stand up, like when I was doing jokes that weren't me, like trying to be darker or edgier to like, they're like, is this you though? No. So it's like very good at pinpointing what does authenticity mean to you? And how much does it mean to you?
That's probably the most unique answer that we've had so far on the pod. It's like one of the answers I think I like the most. Not to be, subjective, because I love every answer that we've gotten. But that one right there, it's like, that's truly like based on your experience. And it's truly like something that you received that you're grateful for in this moment.
Sacrificing your own authenticity, like as a result of comparison or whatever it may
A relationship.
Relationship or just, I think sacrificing who you are and like what you want to be and who you think of your highest self. And like when you journal, like, or when when I think about how my mom talks to me about me to strangers and like, my baby's doing this, and that. And it's always true. And that is who I am. But I think, sacrificing your own authenticity is the cruelest thing you can do to yourself. I think that's one of the most not talked about forms of self-harm I've ever encountered. It's even since I've been doing this, I've noticed people I've really enjoyed once they not even necessarily like selling out or whatever, because you got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? I ain't mad at an ad read. I'll skip it. I ain't mad at you for it. But changing who you are to fit a different demographic because you think it might be a shortcut, or people that don't really care about you are going to care you're doing that. If it costs you a peace of mind and a piece of yourself, and when you look in the mirror, you're seeing somebody that doesn't look like you because you're trying to be somebody else, I think that's the cruelest thing you can do to yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
I say as a fake redhead.
God, I love you. You're like one of my favorite
Speaking of
people,
which, I do
Quinn.
have to get my lips done in like an hour. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it. This has been another fun-filled episode of Tammy's Boy. Do you have anything, and this probably isn't going to come out for a while, you got anything later this year that you're doing you can think of?
What month is it?
It's August.
Right now I'm training with my mom because I want to. Have you seen the movie Heavy Metal?
I think so.
It's like old. It's like 80s. It's a cartoon.
But
There's a cartoon character in it named Tarna who's badass, and I'm like training because like I want to look good enough to go as that for Halloween.
Okay.
So
You know what's funny about that is I had the kids this summer, so I haven't been able to train much. I was in much better shape earlier this year, but I was literally training just so I could play Kratos and Ares God of War for like a cosplay.
yeah,
Just because like it's the only bald bearded dude I could find that I look resemble, but I'm nowhere near the shape he's in.
yeah. Well, summer's over, so I can't be like, oh, my bikini body. I have to go. It's my Halloween costume body
Okay,
because I'd waited too long.
that's fair.
Well, I didn't get my Adderall prescription in time.
All right, Tammy's kids. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode. Make sure you're doing the thing that we need you to do. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you do what you need to do, we're going to do what we need to do and try to turn this into the best podcast in the whole damn world. So we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Did your family bring joy? Was your childhood destroyed? Hey, it's Tammy's boy. Did your mama lie? Did your daddy make you cry? Hey,